NHL teammates for 13 seasons. Now back together as on-air teammates. You are listening to the Kes and Juice Podcast. Hockey, life, and other stuff. Here are your hosts, Ryan Kessler and Kevin Bieksa.
Episode 14, Kes and Juice. I'm Juice. I'm laughing. Kes, you're laughing. That was so funny.
Because you just called me brah.
Bruh.
And I call you brah back.
How's your week been, bruh?
It's, you know what? It's been rough. I've been sick. I've had the man cold and bronchitis, but I'm on the other side of it. I'm feeling better now that I get to see your ugly face and talk to you for an hour.
Oh, that's all? That's all you've had all week? And you just fought through it because you're a warrior?
Well, obviously, I had a minor procedure too, so we're not going to talk about that though. Oh yeah, don't you know there, eh?
Fuck, here we go. Here we go with that terrible accent again.
Oh fuck, hey Juice.
So
just
let's
talk
talk
up in Muskoka having a fucking Tim Ho's double there, eh?
That's not even a Canadian accent. What is that?
Oh, it's fucking one of those Canadian accents there, eh?
It's like a Newfoundland, French, Livonia
maple
accent.
Glazed donut, double, nothing better.
Love a maple glazed donut right now.
Better than a moose's ass there.
Stretch run of the playoffs coming up, Cass. Right? I'd really prefer to talk about that. But and then also there's been some changes to the game at the GM meetings. We'll talk a little bit about that. The puck tracking, the player tracking, all the stuff that you have your opinions on. Right?
Perfect. I got my opinions. You know I'm opinionated. You are too. That's why we're loved so much around the league.
Hey, newsflash. 2007 Junior Ducks 12U AAA state champions. First state champion title they've ever won at this age group.
Really? That's huge.
Huge. Big win in Riverside. I think I've told you the San Jose team is coached by Owen Nolan, Nabokov, and Curtis Brown. So you have over 2,500 games of NHL experience on their bench. So we beat them twice, and then we lost once to the Kings in the round robin. And then who have Mark Stewart, who's also another really good NHL player, Stanley Cup champ. But then we play the Kings in the finals, and team just buckles down, plays awesome, wins 3-2, state champions. And I'll tell you something real quick. Back in the beginning of the season, we played LA once, our second, I think, game of the regular season. They beat us 9-0. 9-0, right? Like, kicked the crap out of us. And you can imagine in minor hockey, kids are all crying on the bench, didn't want to go on the ice. Parents are like yelling over the stands, like into the bench at their kids, and like, just as you can imagine, total chaos.
Yeah.
Right? You've probably experienced that. You've probably been that parent yelling.
No, I was the coach. We same kind of thing. We lost to a team early on, like 7-0, and we beat them later on in the season, which, I mean, even a rival with you, I can't imagine how you guys were feeling after losing 9-0 against your rivals and then going and beating them in a game, the biggest game of the year. That's pretty special. But
yeah, like totally had to reinvent ourselves after and like just coach the heck out of these kids and give them like a structure and like teach them the game, right? Like obviously you give them a little bit of freedom, but teach them like a structure that they can play within. And just a quick update, super proud of the kids. They're all super pumped. And now we just, on to spring hockey, right? Does Riker have spring hockey?
Yeah. Riker, we have tryouts the end of March. So spring hockey starts April 1st, and we'll go to a couple tournaments and practice a couple times a week and get ready for a couple months off in the summer, because I don't think hockey should be a year-round sport. And then we start off fall, like mid-August, I believe.
Well, our guest this week, he also didn't play hockey year-round. He was a big soccer player back home. So we have Leon Draisaitl coming up. We have awesome talk with him. And the dynamic's pretty fun because a guy that played probably every shift against him, every shift, every confrontation, I played a lot against him too. So it's going to be an interesting dynamic between the three of us. More so you two, though.
Yeah, obviously. he's a great player, back-to-back 100-point seasons for the Edmonton Oilers, and he's having another great year. So it's going to be good to pick his brain about the past and the present.
Stretch run coming up. Probably the best hockey of the season is right now, when all the games kind of matter and mean something. What are your thoughts right now?
You either love it or you hate it. Like the coaches usually say, the real players show up at this time of the season, and it's usually fun unless you got teams like ours and the games mean nothing, or if you're so far out of playoffs like Detroit or LA that the games mean nothing, and it's just you're playing them to play out.
Even if you're not having your best year statistically, if you can put together like a good 4 weeks right now, like after trade deadline, I think that can salvage your whole season in the eyes of yourself and the coaching staff and your management, right? Like, these are the games where when they pick you up in the summer or at the trade deadline or in free agency, this is when they want you usually, right? They want you to win the big important games down the stretch.
100%. Divisional game, rivalry games. That's when you look for your players to show up, and especially down in the stretch run. If you can put together 4 weeks of solid hockey, then if you're a free agent next year, you're gonna set yourself up good for next year.
Do you remember we won a couple President's trophies in Vancouver, which is for the most points in the regular season? The 1 year, I think it was probably the year we went to the finals, 2010, 2011. We won by a huge margin. Like, we cruised the whole season. So the stretch run didn't really mean much to us, right? But we won by like 14 points. The following year, with like 2 weeks left in the season, it was really tight at the top. And we ended up, I think we won, like we didn't have a great record down the stretch, but we somehow squeaked out the President's Trophy. And remember, the losers in Vancouver writers were saying that we were the worst team to ever win the President's Trophy. You remember that?
Yes, I do. I remember we weren't winning the right way, and we were by far the worst team to ever win the President's Trophy, which is a pretty harsh statement. I mean, what would you rather? Not win the President's Trophy? And it's a bizarre comment, but apparently they had room to back it up.
That goes back to the conversation we had the one time with, was it with Gillis when we beat Ottawa? And he said, he called us in after and he goes, yeah, we didn't beat Ottawa by enough last night. And we're like, what? Yeah. It's a pretty good league. Like, we won the game. We're like, yeah, but you only beat Ottawa 3-2. We should be beating Ottawa like 5-1. It's kind of the same thing. Like, you're trying to win every game, but the funny thing is the other team's trying to win it too. Right?
Yeah, exactly. It's a good league, and there's a lot of parity. So you're not going to blow teams out. I mean, I think that's why he had the meeting, because the year before we'd go into the third period winning 2-1, and then the other team would press and we'd capitalize on our scoring chances. And the next year didn't happen that way. It's different from year to year. You know that.
It was power play too. We would be in all these tight games in the third period, 2-1, 3-2 game, and then we get a power play, and we had the number one power play in the league that year. Good. You had 41 goals or whatever, and we would score. We'd always score. You see so much now. You see that power play with like 10 minutes left, 8 minutes left, when a team's up 2-1, and they go out there and they're so casual and complacent, and they have a fucking terrible power play where they can't even get zone entry. The other team keeps shooting it down the ice. They have no flow, and then they come out of that power play with no momentum, and they play the rest of the game on their heels. Well, the year that we were really, really good, we had that killer instinct. So when we had that power play with like 8 minutes left, we scored most times to make it 3-1 and kind of put the game out of play. And then when they would pull the goalie, we just had all these rats like you and Burr that just couldn't wait to score an empty net goal. Like, guys would fight over the empty net goals. And then we went 4-1, right? And then that looks like a blowout.
Yannick Hansen and Burrows were the king of empty net goals. And David Booth. Those three guys would skate so hard down the ice just to get an empty netter. But yeah, talking about power play, there's only a few teams in the league that have potent power plays that you're actually scared of it to take a penalty. And I think that's what we had that year. And teams were scared to take penalties against us, and that allowed us to give us extra space on the ice. And when they did take penalties against us, we made them pay, especially late in games when we had, like you said, the killer instinct.
So down the stretch right now, a couple interesting teams that look like they're lined up to play each other. Edmonton, Calgary. Like, we love talking about this rivalry. If these guys play in the playoffs together, that's going to be just a war of a series.
Oh, I hope they do. It's going to be good for the league, good for the province of Alberta, and it looks like they're going to play them. And I think Edmonton would easily win that series.
No, easily.
Easily.
But you hate Calgary though. That's the problem. Like, but think about it. And do you think they're actually going to easily win the series, or you just hate Calgary so much you want to say that?
How are you? Okay, let's put it this way. How are you going to have a matchup for Draisaitl and McDavid?
Goudreau. Goudreau's going to shut down McDavid. Monahan's going to shut down.
Good American kid, but do you think he wins a series for you?
That's the thing. You don't have the horses to play against that line at all. And then if they split that line up, you don't have the horses to match up individually either.
Exactly. So they need to rely on power play. Which, do you think they have a power play? And then you got Edmonton's power play. Do you think you have the PK to defend a 30% success rate?
Well, big save Dave, maybe, if he gets hot.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, big save Dave. But he has to get hot. So there's a lot of, with every series, there's a lot of shit that goes into it. You got to stay healthy. You got to play your best. And special teams are huge. And goaltending is probably the biggest.
Let's jump over to the other side. And I've never really asked you much about the Leafs. You live in the Eastern time zone, so maybe you watch more games than I do. What's your opinion on that team? Because that's obviously the team that Canada likes to debate the most. For them to get out, into the conference finals, they have to go through most likely Boston and Tampa. Like, what are their chances? What do you think of their team?
I don't think they have a good chance at all to go far in playoffs. I think they're kind of in the situation Edmonton's in, or Edmonton was in 2 years ago when Leon and McDavid signed those big contracts. I think those three guys are, I don't want to say overpaid, but they're paid to the max. And a few years from now, when the cap goes up and players are making more, they'll give cap relief to bring in players that will support their cast more. But I don't think they have the players to support them right now. I think they're a good, skilled team, but who knows? I mean, you're not going to get by Boston. You're not going to get by Tampa.
Marner, Matthews, and
Tavares.
Say with Nylander, he makes like $7 million too, right?
With those four guys, Marner, Matthews, Nylander, Tavares, those guys make huge dollars. I don't know the exact percentage of the salary cap, but they're kind of like in the same boat Edmonton was. So when you have those four guys making as much, maybe a few years down the road is when the cap's higher and their cap hits a little less than percentage wise, then you can bring in a supporting cast to help them in these playoff runs, because it's all about how deep you are, and your best players need to be your best players. But if your best players are your best players and you don't have a deep supporting cast, then you're not going to go far in playoffs.
So you don't like their depth, and they've had some pretty bad injuries in key positions, right? With Riley's coming back, with on defense, Muzzin go, like he's such a big part to their team because they are a skilled, puck possession team, and they bring in Kyle Clifford for a little bit of grit. So the thing is, they realize what they're deficient in. They realize they're not a gritty playoff team. But the problem is, they bring these guys in and they plug them in to their system that doesn't change. Their system hasn't changed. They just plugged in a couple gritty guys into these spots and hope that will fill the void. But their system, and if you watch the way they play, which I have a little bit more lately, they're all about puck possession. So what that means is when they're winning 2-1 in the third or 3-2, they get the puck cast on a breakout, and the winger, instead of like taking a couple hard steps and chipping the puck out just to get out of your zone, he brings it back and goes behind his net, and like 3 times out of 10 turns the puck over, and then they're playing in their zone. So they just don't play a style that is conducive to winning in the playoffs or in important games. So that in my opinion, that's the problem. You got a guy like Clifford, he'll play the right way, but the rest of the wingers are bringing the puck back into the zone all the time, and they just won't take hits to make a play. They won't block shots, like the shit that you need to win.
100%. Your best players need to play the right way, and I've talked about this before about having players that play a full 200-foot game and play the right way. If you don't play the right way, how do you expect your third and fourth line guys to do it if your top two lines aren't doing it, especially in a tight situation game and in a playoff run where every little play matters, and even a chip out of the zone just to relieve pressure and maybe get some fresh legs on the ice rather than taking it behind your net and getting hemmed in. That's a huge turning point possibly in a playoff series.
Yeah, so it'll be interesting to see if they can even get out of the first round in the playoffs. But as a viewer, we'll be able to see some of these changes to the NHL firsthand with the puck tracking and the player tracking that they want to introduce. We don't know exactly the details of the player tracking, but it's probably stuff that you and I have both been in meetings about with the NHLPA over the last couple of years. Speed of the player, miles skated on the ice, all the little details that. I mean, how do you feel about it? I know how you feel about it. Tell the people how you feel about it.
You look at it three ways: one, the league side; one, the fan side; one, the player side. League, obviously, they love it. They think it's going to bring in revenue. They think more people are going to come to or watch games on TV. It will be a better experience on TV because hockey is considered a live sport, which by that I mean it's better in person than it is on TV because it's hard to track the puck. Fan side, they probably love it too. Get to see how fast your favorite player is skating, how long your a certain player on a team skated, the distance wise, with the puck, how fast the puck's moving, how fast was that shot that went in the net, things of that. From a player standpoint, I don't love it. I mean, I don't know a ton about it, but I look at it as
you're exposed.
Contract negotiation.
Yeah.
You expose yourself to
the negatives,
data that, it might be certain times you might be able to use it as a positive, but most of the time the GMs are going to use it as a negative. And I don't know if they agreed to it or not. They obviously had to if they're using it in a playoff series, but I'm not a big fan of it, and I'm not sure how the PA would agree to that. Your thoughts?
Well, it's a bargaining chip, I think. I don't know why they're introducing it now in the playoffs. I think this is something that you bargain with over the summer, and it's give and take. So if the players are going to expose themselves personally in contract negotiations by having their shot tracked, their speed tracked, all that stuff. And you made a good point when we were talking before. So say you're clocked right now skating in a game, and then in 5 years, you're clocked skating 3 miles an hour slower. You're telling me GMs aren't going to use that when they're negotiating with your agent and say,
100%.
This guy's lost a step. Before, they would be he's lost a half a step, and it could be debated. But now, they have actual data to say it's proven that he's lost a step. So if that's what the case, and they want to enhance the product for the viewers, then what are the players getting in exchange? Are the players getting a share of hockey related revenue? Are they getting more of an increase there? Obviously not.
No, it's 50-50.
The players, well, it's not 50-50, right? But the players,
no, it's not.
Players pay for their own health care, their own pension, buyouts, and playoff bonuses. That's all out of the players' share. Tell me any other company that pays for
escrow too.
And then escrow. Anyways, that's a whole new other show. But I just don't understand how the NHLPA can agree to this at this time of the season when there's nothing coming back the other way for the players. So that's the confusing part for me. Yeah, maybe it enhances the game for the viewers, and maybe it'll bring in a little bit more revenue in the playoffs or more viewers. But I don't know. That's the way I kind of feel.
Yeah, at the most important time of the year too, and introducing a new puck. That's what I seem weird is you're gonna change the puck they use, and they say it's the same feel and everything, and that it's been tested, but to test it in an NHL game, it hasn't been yet. So to bring it in a playoff setting, I'm not huge about it.
The whole point is they're trying to be innovative, right? And they're trying to appeal to Generation Z and the millennials and everything, and try to grab that market, try to grow with the world. But I mean, there's still a traditional element to the game that a lot of people like.
So like it's a tough debate. Some people want to see these changes, right? They want the game to change a little bit. But
they also heated blades a couple of years ago too. We see how far that went.
Yeah, they're always trying these funny little things. What's without putting you on the spot, what's one change? If you could make a change, implement it tomorrow in the game, what's one change that you would make? Like I'm curious to hear what the hell's going to come out of your mouth right now.
Well, there's different. If I'm a goalie, I'd want to take away the trapezoid, because if I'm good at playing the puck, why are you going to take that skill away from me?
Yeah.
Like Marty Turco,
Smitty,
Mike Smith,
Pekka
Rene,
Bishop.
You're limiting his space on the ice to be able to do his job and use his
and make money. Make money, right?
Yeah. Yeah. To be honest, it's hard forechecking a goalie when he's that good. And I don't like that at all. And for a centerman, I don't like these new face-off rules. I don't like choosing to go down.
You like to cheat on face-offs. That was your thing. Put your fucking
because
your head in the middle. You put your head there so the other guy can't get in. You headbutt him and you crowd the circle. Right? Isn't that?
I'm not even talking about that. But yeah, I do crowd this circle. But what I'm saying is to be able to choose which side you get to take a face-off from. For me, if I'm a centerman, I have to practice both sides. And I was good from both sides. And there's a lot of centermen that are good from both sides of the ice taking a draw. And I just feel like you're limiting that. If I only have to take a draw on my backhand, then I don't have to worry about my forehand at all. So that's another thing. But over the puck over the glass thing, don't like that either. I changed that.
Really? You don't like?
No.
You don't think that should be a penalty?
I don't know. I think it should be based on the referees. I think if he thinks it's on purpose, then yeah. But if he thinks, you know what, it was too close to call, then he should be able to wave it off.
I think the mascot should be the e-bug. That's the one change I'd like to see implemented right away. If two goals,
what's funny is I just realized what e-bug stood for. I was like, e-bug, and then I was like, emergency backup goalie. Got it, e-bug.
Can you imagine if Colton the Bear or Carlton the Bear had to go in when for the that's selling the game right there. That's bringing in revenue that from people that don't normally watch. That's my big change to the game. Whole mascot.
What would the Red Wings do? What would the Red Wings do?
They have that.
They got an octopus that hangs from the ceiling. Would they just drop it in front of the net? No one would be able to score on them.
No, they would have to implement. They'd have to have a functional mascot for emergency backup situations, and he'd have to be at least you'd have to be under 45 years old, and have certain skill sets. It's so stupid. This is just such a stupid conversation, but that'd be entertaining, though.
How about you? What would you change other than your stupid e-bug?
I don't like the format. I don't like the format that they have for playoffs now. I know the intent of it was to make it similar to football, where you build your team based on your division, because for you to get to the conference finals now, you have to go through your division. So
not necessarily though.
Well, unless there's a wild card case, right? But for the most part, you're going through your division, right? I don't like that. I like the old days when it was take the top 8 teams from the Western Conference, top 8 teams. If there's 5 from the Central, then so be it, right? Or 6, 6 from the Central, so be it. And I think and the same thing in the East. So you have the top 8 teams, and you have to get out of the East or the West, and then you play the 2 winners. I like that old format better. I don't care so much about those kind of rivalries. I'd like to see just the best teams make it, personally.
Yeah, I like the new format.
And I want the mascot as
so
e-bug.
We disagree.
And I want the mascot as e-bug.
You're stuck on stupid today. You know that?
You could be right. For the first time, you could be right. But we have Leon Draisaitl coming up, so he's going to straighten us out. But this guy is on a tear right now. And you guys have some good.
Didn't you tell me earlier that he's starting his own cologne line?
Yeah, well, rumor is on Twitter that he's starting his own cologne line, but he'll assure us that he already smells fine. So we'll get to the bottom of that.
Smells wonderful.
Okay, let's go talk to him.
Old Spice.
Let's go.
Yeah, let's do it.
You're listening to the Cass and Juice podcast.
Next guest is the 3rd overall draft pick back in 2014 of the Edmonton Oilers. He currently leads NHL forwards in ice time, 22:37. That's 35 seconds more than number 2 Eichel. He also leads the NHL with 108 points, which is 13 more than number 2, which is equally impressive. He's got 43 goals and counting. He's from Cologne, Germany. He doesn't have a cologne line. His name is Leon Draisaitl. Dry, how you doing?
I'm good. How are you guys?
Good.
So to clear the record, you do not have a cologne line back home.
No, I do not have my own cologne back home. I'm from Cologne.
But what do you smell good at least?
I think I do. Like I've had that compliment a few times. Yeah.
So how's everything going lately? We saw the other night you had a big night. I think every time somebody commits to talking to Kes and I, they have it's a big night in the coming week. Yeah, especially if you're an Edmonton Oiler. So how's it been going lately? It's been a good season for you, obviously.
Yeah, it's been good. Obviously, first night was fun. We had a good third period there, and last night we grinded one out. Wasn't pretty. Goalie was standing on his head a little bit, but yeah, it's two big wins for us for sure.
So Kes likes to focus on ice time a lot because he played big minutes as a forward. You're playing enormous minutes.
So much harder than a D-man. Playing minutes as a centerman is so much harder than playing 23 minutes as a D-man. You get to stand at the point and hey, give me the puck.
You guys stand there in the face-off circle. You fucking hit sticks for a little bit, and then you chase each other around and slash and cross that. Like, how hard is that?
Okay.
Well, if you take face-offs against Kes, they're right in your nuts. So that's if you win 1 out of the 27 you take against them.
Hey, I just know how fast you are, so I had to slow you down somehow.
No, that's 97. That's 97.
So how are the minutes on the body? Like, you're at the end of the season almost. You've been playing big minutes. How do you feel?
Yeah, I feel good. Obviously you guys know that we got a lot of recovery stuff, all that kind of stuff going. So feel good. Obviously some nights you feel better than others, but I do have to say with the ice time, I think with us, a lot of it goes into the power play too, because we usually stay out there for a little longer than most guys. So and obviously playing power play isn't the most taxing. So I think that plays into it a little bit.
Do you guys even have a second unit or no?
Yeah.
Like, how most teams put like first, second unit on the board. You guys just put first unit and that's it.
No, we do have a second unit. They get the
their power play is like over 30%. And there's like 4 teams in the history that have a power play over 30% success rate. It's crazy.
Yeah, our power play has been pretty good. It won us the game last night too. So
I really like that play you guys do. You did it last year. It's hard to defend where you kind of give your backhand to McDavid and then you fire it home.
I know.
Like, I feel like that's a new play, kind of like the the Sedin tip.
Yeah.
How they used to do it back in the day. I feel like that's like the new version of the Sedin tip.
I saw a few other teams try that too. No. I've been trying it. We've been trying it forever, and I just could never score on it. I would always whiff on the shot, or I could never put it past the goalie. So I was getting a little nervous that someone else would score on it before I would. So,
yeah. So what's the theory? What's the theory on it though? Like, if you give them your backhand, you can just catch and release it.
Yeah, I just find especially because a lot of it goes through Connor's side, and I'm a lefty. Like, I'm kind of useless in the slot if I'm just standing there because I don't have the time to receive a puck, turn around and shoot it. So I'm trying to kind of fake it that I'm not in the play really, and then he's gonna give it to me quick, and I turn around and shoot it. So it's kind of like I'm giving out all the scoops here, so we're never gonna this is never going to work again.
Well, you know what? If you want to talk about how to defend it, it's got to be like shared help from the forward in the slot and the D, and then somebody else.
Yeah,
is open. So if they start cheating on
teams have tried that before when the weak side forward gets under my stick, but then Connor finds that high seam to the other forward coming down, and then he's just skating down the middle and shoots it. So I think it's hard to defend. I like it.
It is very hard to defend. I like it. You guys, it worked against Nashville Monday night. It was tough. I was flipping back and forth between the Bachelor and the game.
Here we go.
And I saw like 3 out of the 5 goals you guys scored in the third, and that was one of them, I believe.
So you mentioned Connor there. So this is a question I wanted to ask you. Are you one of those guys that you like playing with the same line mates every shift? Or are you a guy that just doesn't really care that much, wants to get out there as much as the coach can put you out there?
You know what? Like, I don't really care. Like, I feel like we've been so used to switching up all the time, especially with Connor and I. Just like the last couple of years, we've been just always going back and forth with, playing together, playing apart, whatever it is. So I'm just kind of used to just try and go out and, make plays. I don't know. It's just kind of whatever.
Like Kess used to complain if he wasn't on the ice with Silverberg and Cogs. Like
not really.
You'd bitch and complain, and I don't want to play with Perry. Nobody wanted to play with Perry. It's like playing shorthanded the whole game. They're like, I don't want to be on the ice with Perry.
Until you get in the ozone.
Yeah, exactly. Quick question. You're German, obviously. How's your sewer ball game? Because I heard you're not very good for German.
Who said that? Cass told you that, didn't he?
Somebody claims to be the best sewer ball player on your team, and he's Canadian and he's bald.
Okay, I know who that is. Lloyd Christmas.
Yes. So
no,
tell me that's
false.
Tell me it's a lie.
Yeah, it's a lie. I'm the best sewer ball player on our team, hands down. The Swedes are good, but I'm good.
Yeah, but you're aggressive probably. Like for most people that are listening, if they don't know what sewer ball is, it's the 2-touch soccer game that probably every team in the NHL plays before the game to warm up, and it gets competitive. There's fights, there's arguments, there's like ranking systems, and obviously the Germans are at the top of the world for soccer, or football.
And we brought in the Olympics too, which is the final game before everyone leaves. So on our team we have the Olympics, and that's the one that matters the most.
Is that two burns and you're out?
No, we just play one round, but that's when it gets really competitive. Did you guys play?
Oh, we played all every year. The Sedins kind of started a van, but then in Anaheim we played soccer tennis too. We had like a designated room before the game. Yeah. And that's would get so many arguments, but we would look for. I'm like, I'm going to get to this game early so I can get ready for soccer tennis before. Like it was a big part of the warm up. But anyways, back to hockey. Let's go back a little bit. Let's go back to your Memorial Cup finals, because just reading a little bit about that, you were the MVP of the tournament and you guys lost in overtime. That doesn't happen too often.
Yeah. It was.
How was that experience?
Yeah, it was. I mean, the tournament itself was amazing. It was great. We had a really good team, but obviously, losing 2-1 in overtime, that stings. It still does. It's almost like, you guys probably know, it's almost like sometimes you'd rather lose 7-0, get shit kicked, than losing this tight in overtime. So
exactly.
But yeah, it was tough, but we had a good team. It was a good run. It was a lot of fun. Yeah.
So the playoff series against us, you guys, back in 2017, you guys beat us the first 2 games, and then, we beat you at home the next 2, and then Game 5, you guys were up with 3-0, and we won in overtime. And I have a vivid memory of looking. Well, I knew I have a vivid memory of you standing by the bench, just staring at us celebrate. And I've always wondered what was going through your head, because I know the way you played the next game. unstoppable.
He hated you. He hated you, Cass.
I don't know. Like,
who doesn't?
I honestly, like, I think, like, without throwing anyone under the bus here, but I think our team at the time, like, we were so young and you guys were so experienced, you know, it was kind of like, it was such a shock. Like, at the moment, I just couldn't believe it. Like, there's 3 minutes left and we couldn't figure out a way to bring, like, to play down 3 minutes. Like, that was mind blowing to me in the moment. But in those 3 minutes, you're just like, they seem so long, and like you get scored on and you panic a little bit, you know, especially it's your first playoff run. Like, you're in the second round, like, you're excited, everything. But at the same time, like, that's where it shows you experience does bring a lot, right? Like, we were a young group, like, and we just couldn't, like, I don't know. I can't even remember what I was thinking, but probably not much. I was just, it was sad.
Well, you responded, right? The next game
responded
in Edmonton was a shit kicking. Right?
Yeah,
He had a hat trick.
Yeah, I mean,
and then we all know the way. But that saying that is, you know, this year for playoffs looks like you guys are going to make it. You guys have that experience now.
Yeah, exactly. So like it helps, you know. Obviously, you hate going through it, but yeah, I think it's going to help us, you know, in the long run. It was probably good, but in the moment, it's pretty hard to believe, especially like that it's not like that scenario happens, you know, every playoff game, you know, like that was
exactly
even in the history of the playoffs in the NHL. I think that's pretty special. Like what you guys did that, like that was that's considered pretty crazy. So, but yeah, it was a fun series for sure. It was
one of those things where like people don't understand like how momentum shifts like in a game, and then when you go into the playoffs, it's like amplified, right? Like when you got the momentum, you feel like you're on top of the world, and then boom, one play, one penalty.
It's great. It's actually crazy, and it's again like, you know, like for me being in the playoffs the first time, like I had no idea how big these plays are, you know. Like it's crazy. It's absolutely crazy. Like even from game to game, like we go into Anaheim, we win both games. I'm like, oh my God, we can sweep these guys at home. Like, you know, Rogers plays is buzzing, like the whole city is crazy. Like, and then you lose a game at home and all of a sudden it's 2-1. You lose the second one, it's 2-2. You start from zero, you know. It's like you said, the momentum swings are crazy.
Well, that's part of like growing in leadership, and now like you guys going into the playoffs this year, like still pretty young team, but like you have that leadership now, like Connor does, you know, Cass, Smitty's been probably pretty good for you since he's like 50 years old or whatever he is. Yeah. Right? So is that the leadership group pretty much on your team?
Yeah.
And you guys
Neeler is obviously talks a lot. but no, we have a good group, and like you said, I mean, we have that experience now. You know, hopefully over the next couple of weeks we can lock it down and see what happens then.
Give us your quick thought on the because you guys are looking like you're lining up with Calgary in the playoffs. That's been the best rivalry to watch all season long. You've been right in the middle of it. Cass has been right in the middle of it. We've had David Riddick on. He's been in the middle of it to Chuck. What's your take? Like, are you enjoying, like, when you play them, are you like, fucking rights, we got Edmonton, or we got Calgary tonight?
I mean, those games are always fun, right? Like, I'm excited for the last game of the year in Calgary because I feel like I have a feeling it's going to come down to that one game of positioning who's playing who. So it'll be fun, but yeah, it would definitely be a lot of fun playing against them. But I think, you know, in the playoffs, like, you know, I thought our rivalry with you guys was always pretty good. Every game was always heated, and then we played you guys in the playoffs, and you know, it was fun. It was great. So yeah, I think it'll be good. We'll see.
That's the games when you don't play anymore and you retire. That's the shit you miss. Cass? Like, don't you agree? Yeah. Like those big, like for us, we had Chicago earlier in our career. Yeah. Huge battle. We had Calgary. We had you guys later in our career. That's the shit you miss. The games that really mean something and are heated.
You get so
For
like
sure.
your
Lining up
adrenaline just
across.
takes over. Like you're not like, I couldn't believe it. Like at the end of the year in 2017, like I started getting tired like in regular season, but then as soon as the playoffs started, like I didn't even feel tired. Like game 7 in the second round, like I didn't even feel anything. I could just go forever.
Yeah.
You got all the adrenaline.
Yeah,
right?
exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. The nervous, excited energy that you have that you skate forever and you don't feel like you get tired.
I mean, I'm sure it's different.
Those are the fun
once
games.
Once you go further than that, I'm sure you get tired a little bit, but
it's different when you turn 30.
Yeah. Good point.
Well,
you got a long way before that though.
So like you're a tough guy to find personal info on, right? You're a pretty guarded guy. So I think what's probably common knowledge is your dad, but like how was your upbringing? Like your dad played in the Olympics in '98 in Nagano. Were you there? Did you watch? Like what's your upbringing? Nobody knows. You're like the James Bond of hockey. Like no one knows anything about you. Other than you look like me.
007. Yeah, we look alike. Yeah. No, you know what? Pretty simple. I mean, obviously grew up in Germany, started playing because of my dad. When I was 8 years old, I quit hockey for a year, played soccer for a year. That's something that people probably don't know.
Nice.
So, yeah, just grew up in Germany, played 16, got drafted to the WHL. Played there for 2 years, then obviously got drafted to the NHL. So it was pretty standard, to be honest with you. I'm a pretty boring guy, I would say. To be honest with you, I'm pretty like normal. So nothing crazy.
Were you in Nagano though for the Olympics?
No, I was not. No, I was at home.
Okay, that must have been pretty cool though, having your dad.
Yeah,
Kess and my dads were just a bunch of gangbangers, right, Kess?
Yeah, my dad was definitely a gangbanger. You're right.
Hell's Angels.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, yeah, like you said, there's maybe you call it boring, but there's just not a whole lot out there about you. Like Kess is obviously a pretty flamboyant guy, and everyone knows his story and his past.
Oh yeah. Everybody knows my past.
You're a quiet guy.
Sure. Yeah, I don't know. I just try to focus on my job as much as I can, and yeah, that's pretty much it.
Well, you're doing a good job of it. 100 points back-to-back years. No one. I don't think people get how hard it is to get a point a game, rather than you're almost averaging 2 points a game, which is pretty impressive. And you have a team-friendly contract now. I bet you thought you'd never those words when you signed that deal. You'd be like, "Oh, yeah, I'm set."
The opinions were different back then when I signed that deal.
Right, 100%. I remember the opinions, and now people are looking at it like you still got what 5 years left?
5 years, yeah. After this one, yeah.
And players are making 12 mil, and
but you know how it is. Like if next year, 100%. If I get 65 points, everyone's like, "Oh, this guy's so overpaid." Like that's just how
buy out.
Yeah, buy him out.
What have you done for me lately?
Yeah,
yeah.
Buy him out.
And then you fake a hip injury and you go in the long-term IR, right?
Yeah.
I love how he's like 65 points and people want to buy me out. I think I had 8 points last year, Leon.
What's it like? Last question. What's it like playing for Tip? I had him in the World Championships, actually the same World Championships you were in Minsk, Belarus. He was the head coach.
I don't remember that.
But we were on the other bracket. We're on the other bracket though, so we never played you guys.
You
guys were in the other rink with
Captain
Russia.
Canada. You're talking to. He was the captain.
Spengler.
We probably
Cup.
would have shook hands before the game if we played.
Spengler Cup.
Yeah, Spengler Cup.
No, he's
too. But how's Tip been for you?
Yeah, he's been great. I think he brought in a real way of teaching us how to play the right way and like learning how to win games, and And not that the coaches before didn't do that, but he's just done a great job with everything. You know, he really is able to get the most out of, you know, guys on our third, fourth line. You know, those guys, they do a lot for us. You know, that's something that we've always kind of missed. So those guys, they play huge roles in our success. So yeah, he's done a great job with that.
Cass, I don't think he was that boring. I don't know why he would call himself boring. It was a pretty entertaining interview.
Yeah.
Do you want to be my?
He said 2 words to me on the ice, but like, fuck, he seems like a pretty good guy. I would have definitely stuck you at least half the amount of times.
I know. I got the grumpy face on the ice all the time.
I can't imagine. Yeah, but I can't imagine what it's like to play again. I mean, I can't imagine. I played against Cass for 1 year, but for a guy who doesn't know him, like, you must fucking hate Cass.
Yeah, it's
like on the ice.
It's not fun, and you know, he probably loves hearing this, and probably heard a lot of it over your career, but it's not fun. Like, I don't need to beat around the bush here. It was hard. It was hard. Yeah, for sure.
It's the only way I know how.
Like,
I apologize for everything. I'm a good guy off the ice.
Hey,
but on the ice, that's the only way I know how to be successful.
Exactly. We're all trying to win. So, yeah, you take 25 faceoffs against them. You lose the first 17. You win a lucky one. You're 1-17, and you have a stick right up your crotch, and you're like, Jesus Christ! Like, can't even.
I don't think you were ever 1-17. I remember not being able to win a draw against you, and then I've had a couple good games against you, but you got a really strong stick, man. You're good at what you do. You play a full 200-foot game.
Yeah.
Yeah,
no, it was fun. It was fun playing against you. Oh, sometimes it was fun.
You guys done fluffing each other or what? No, you're the best. No, you're the best.
Oh, here we go.
I love playing
against the party, eh?
I love playing against my lookalike.
That's who you love playing against.
I love that.
Okay, well, thanks for joining us.
No,
yeah, appreciate it, pal. Good luck the rest of the season and in the playoffs.
Yep, thank you guys.
So that's that, Kess. Another one in the bank. Please, KessandJuice.com. Go and subscribe and commit to us, because like we said, we've committed to you. Twitter is.
Have we though? Have we?
I don't know.
I think we're doing a pretty good job. I do.
What do you think of our Twitter? Entertaining.
I think I think our Twitter game is strong.
Ryan_Kessler, KBX3, Kess and Juice. Special thanks to Leon Draisaitl. That's all you, Kess. I'm going to give you the credit for getting him on. That was a big one. Good job.
We'll thank Corbidian Holzer too. D-man on the Nashville Predators. Hasn't played a game yet, but great guy, and I hope he gets in soon.
He hasn't been in their lineup since he got traded?
No, I talked to him the other day. He hasn't been in yet.
One of the best dressing room guys out there, though, right?
Probably the best.
Do you remember his German song that he would sing all the time, and we would all clap along with him?
Yeah, and English version, it was when we were on our big losing streak. We fly a lot.
It's his
drink a lot.
It's the soccer team of his hometown.
We are losing every game. Ole, ole. But it was all in German.
Yeah.
And he would just yell it out, and we all loved it.
And we knew exactly what he was talking about, even though we didn't understand it in German. But that's him in a nutshell, right? That's hilarious.
Yeah. It was that long road trip when we were when we lost every game. It was the Tampa road trip. We played, we went northern swing, and then we finished in Florida, I believe, and we had our rookie party down there, and that's when the song came out.
So shout out to Holsey. He's so entertaining. We got to get him on. He'll be
fun too. Good dude.
But anyways, good episode. Thanks to Draisaitl. Talk to you next week.